Ah,
Yeah, maybe my brain will start working at some point during this, but it hasn't yet. I'll tell you that. I was gonna say I think I would, I say give everybody motion sickness moving the camera around, but um I think for upper body things, I would rather be able to like do handstands and like one arm chin ups and like the more like gymnastic sort of stuff rather than like be able to incline press 315, which would be cool, but like
mm,
that's like I like squatting heavy weight. Like I think that's cool. But like benching a lot for me is like nah. Like
mm.
it's just not that cool. Like I like doing dips. Like I think dips are cool. But like I think being able to do a snatch podium deadlift with 405 is like infinitely cooler than being able to bench a whole bunch of weight. And then like in that same vein, like doing a handstand is way cooler than being able to bench 315.
I'm the same. Yeah, I'm the same. Like, because it's not that not that either of them are like functional, not that you can use them wherever you want, kind of thing. I mean, they both have their purpose, but like one is you hanging upside down and being able to sort of stay there upside down and maybe walk or do these funky tricks with like your feet and legs and that sort of stuff. And then the other one's just pressing heavy weight from your chest to straight arms and back down again and back up. And it's like, well, there's probably a little bit more in the handstand than there is in a bench press. I'm the same. I like that gymnasticsy stuff, like the even ring muscle ups and like you said, the one arm chin up and that too. I went crazy on them probably 2 or 3 months ago. I was doing 50 pull ups a day and chin ups, like just wide, um, normal and then chin ups. And like by the end of the month and then into the next month, I kept going. Like my tendons in my elbows and in my shoulders and in my wrists and my hands were just like, nah, we're not having this anymore. You got to stop.
That I it's handstands are the same way. Those are hard on you, especially your wrists and the shoulders.
Mm.
Like I'm like we did a lot of handstands 2 days ago, and I'm still feeling it pretty bad. Not in terms like horrible, but like my wrists are sore, my upper back is trashed right
Mm.
now. And then something killed my biceps. I don't know if it was the handstands or the snatch podium deadlifts, but like man, I it is not fun to straighten out my arm right now.
Just like, nah,
Yeah, no,
not
I'm like
today.
walking around like a T-Rex the whole day. Like don't make me. I can't reach anything. Like if it's
Yeah.
anything's above head height, I'm not getting it.
Tell us about the last couple of days, right? Because for me, it's been this is the second time that this, or second or third time that this has happened, where there's been like a whole bunch of ATG participants and students and coaches and all that heading on down to Florida. I'm sure there's been more times that haven't like really made it to the socials, but tell us about your experience with like with Ben, with Keegan, with other Ben, with every single other ATG member there, because it just looks like it looks like my kind of party, you know, like
Yeah, it's the second time there's been like a lot of people together. Like there were less people today, less people this time than there were at the expo. Like the expo was like 100 plus people, like well over 100 people. This time there were like at the peak there were like 40 something people there. So it wasn't
mm,
like crazy. And it was in the gym the whole time. So all of the organized activity was in the gym. It wasn't like a conference room like the last one was. Um, but the cool part of it is always like hanging out with people. It's not like we go there and I learn the whole like it's not like there's no new kind of step up. Like it's still step ups and it's still split squats. Like maybe how you organize things a little bit different, but like there's not really a whole bunch of new training information. It's much more like got to hang out with Keegan. I got to hang out with Ben. Got to hang out with other Ben. Got Keith was there. Got to hang out with Zach and all the other guys. People I never met before, people I'd met online, get to meet in person, and just like hanging out and like bullshitting like that. Like that was the most fun part, and that's where like you actually learn stuff. Like there might have been some people that were like people came down and like snatch podium deadlifted for the first time. Like that's a cool thing for people. I've done it before, but like teaching people to snatch deadlift for the first time is really sick. And it was cool to test. Like we did some sprint testing, we did some jump testing, um, ran through various like formats of ways to do workouts for people. Like that, it was super cool. Like there was a ton. It was like a really long 3.5 days, but like in the best way possible.
Hmm.
Like a ton happened. We recorded a podcast that'll be out at some point for ATG. There were a bunch of YouTube videos that got shot. I didn't film any content on my own, which unfortunate, but I don't really care. But yeah, man. I mean, like it also made me want to leave Indy kind of bad because, dude, let me tell you, being in Florida, waking up, just going outside, sitting in the backyard for a while, getting some sun in the morning, going over to the gym, training your nuts off for like 6 or 8 hours, and just hanging out with everybody, and then like go home, change, go to the beach, go straight for the beach to dinner, and then like come back and go to bed was like the sickest thing ever.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And being able to do it with people who like you obviously have a connection with in terms of like the training or whatever it is that you're doing. Like there's a real deep connection there. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was like most of my time was spent with Zach Woodward, who we've had on before, and then Justin Mucci. I don't know if you've met Justin,
No,
but
I haven't met him yet.
the three of us were kind of attached the whole time, just fucking around, I guess. But it's cool because it's also like there aren't a lot of people like, well, there really isn't anybody around me that's like challenging me on lifts, mainly because there isn't anybody else really around me that like I lift with. But like going down there other times, it's like last time we went down for the camp. I love all the other guys, but like we're at like a different spot with lifting level. Marcel was there, obviously, so we could go back and forth like that. But being there with the two of them and some of the other guys, like competing on like, for example, the jump stuff. Like I don't know if you've seen Fernando Lopez online. I think it's Fueled by Furnace, his thing. He kind of works with Ben. Bulletproof Backman is his brother. Whatever.
Yep. Okay, I know who that is. Yeah.
Yeah. That guy is an animal. Like like when I train with Marcel, it's like, yeah, this dude is like really strong. But I'm not like I'm within the realm of where Marcel is. Fernando's on a different planet. Like absolutely on a different planet. So it was like, well, all right. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm not even close. Like there was one day he opened up, we were squatting and what did he hit? 180 kilos and 50 pounds of chains on a squat.
Yeah, I think I saw him. Was he like the guy who was wearing all black? I think he had a hat on. He looks jacked to the max.
That was wicked.
Beast. Yeah,
that was wicked. And then I think he snatched deadlifted 200 kilos on a podium.
So like, and this is what I'm hearing from you, environment is everything, and it's either you create your own environment to be able to do that, which can sometimes be really, really challenging to do so, or you just go out and you search for that environment to be able to push you to that next level. And it sounds like too that you've kind of gone into this environment and now you're taking like, not taking the environment, but you're taking what you've learned from that environment and bringing it back to Indy to try and replicate it yourself. But it can only last so long. Hey, you can't actually, it's very, very challenging just to do it yourself. You know, if you want to go fast, you go by yourself. If you want to go far, you go with others. And like, that's exactly what the Bens and Keegan and Marcel and I'm pretty sure every single ATG person that was there was like, that was their intention, was to go and do it with more people to go further.
Yeah. Exercise is just, I don't know if there's something about those gyms in Clearwater, but like exercises just feel different. Like, like I've never felt my VMO so bad. Like just absolutely on fire like I have there. Like I came back and I tried the same workout here, just wasn't the same. Like like every time I was doing the step up, it was like somebody was like had like a bike pump and was like pumping more air into my vehicle. Like I was like waiting for it to explode. It's so sick. Like the whole time we were there, we were talking about like we got to get a gym somewhere, got to get a gym somewhere, get some of the boys together, and like kind of like recreate that because it's like Ben's in and out of the ATG gym, and like people are in and out, and it is what it is there, but like it is possible to make another thing like that if you get the right people together, especially if you can get it close to the beach and you can just go hop in the ocean every day afterwards.
Yeah.
Man, hard thing to replicate.
I guess you just got to take bits and pieces from it too. Like it's not about trying to up and move because it's not necessarily going to work that way. You're creating your own thing too. Like it's your own spin off of it because you don't want to completely replicate exactly what it looks like because then it's not yours. Like, and you want to be able to sort of, or it's not. It is yours, but then it's like it's literally a carbon copy of what Ben's created. It's like you got to. I'm sure that there's things there that Ben does that you might not like as much, but you might still want to include, or there's other things that you might want to do more, or well, I don't know, whatever it might be. But yeah, I'm on that same path now that like this whole thing of having so many people, we see it all online, you see it all on socials, and it's like, man, like that's what I want. Like that's what I want. I want people. I want to surround myself with people like that. Imagine having that every single day, or even if it is 5 or 6 days a week, and then the other day you're going to the beach or you're going and doing other things. Like you've got this core group of people who are like, yep, we're all on that similar path. We're all kind of going together, but we're all doing our own thing at the same time. But it's like, yeah, let's train together, let's work together, let's push each other together. It's very, very challenging to go and do it by yourself. Like very, very challenging. And like I'm sure that you know that because you've been doing it. And with me, it's been quite hard as well because it's like there's only 2 people here in Adelaide that do ATG, and it's like you can't. It's even that is very, very hard in itself to go and explore that option with other people, because there's only one other person in Nevin, and we've caught up a couple of times, and it's like we've got to do it. I think a little bit more, but it's just it's challenging where you don't have like a HQ kind of like they've got there. I mean, these are all excuses, and they're all things that are like I just want to be able to overcome. But I guess like I'm sure that you've got contact with Ben. I just want to know how many signatures we need for him to come down to Australia because I'm sick and tired of seeing it.
I think you would need a lot of signatures to be fair. Hey, that is a busy man.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
But it's crazy watching him in person do things. It's like you might have seen it on socials, like him jumping onto the reverse hyper and then jumping off and like landing in the KOT squat and all that. Did you see that video?
Yeah.
He did it like 6 times. He just kept doing it because he would like mess up the lines or something, or like he forgot something else. Like he just kept doing it. It was wicked. It was cool. Yeah, and I mean it was like we had lunch with Ben one day. There were like 3, 4 of us and Ben, like in the break in between, like podcasts would get recorded in between the 2 workouts. And it was like a women of ATG one, so obviously Ben wouldn't be a part of it, and neither would any of us. So like we sat with Ben for like an hour and 15 and just had lunch, and it was like that's the cool part of it. Like not like we didn't schedule having lunch with Ben, but like he went and got a coffee and like we happened to be right there. Or like Clarefield ended up having dinner with us most nights and like came over and cooked at our Airbnb because he was at a hotel. And like me and him rode to the airport together, and I was like the first person there. And then I texted Keegan because he was already there, and he was like, so I spent half a day with Keegan, like pretty much just me and him at the gym. Like that was the cool part. Like it's kind of what I said it before, but like going through the workouts is fun because I like working out and like seeing where I'm at with the jumps and how I stack up on the air runner. But like it was much more fun learning handstands Keegan one-on-one than it was like hitting a squat that I've hit before.
How would you say that you could replicate that, like what you saw there? I mean, there's obviously people of all different abilities. Some are good at something, some are not good at those things, some are good at other things, and that. And if you were to replicate it, like, I guess talk us through, without giving too much away. I mean, give away as much as you like, but like talk us through what actually went on there. Like, what did you do? How was it done? I'm assuming that there's like costs and all that involved as well for like going to the 3-day event and all this other stuff. Like, what did it look like? What would you like to recreate? How would you do it? Because like, there's people, because obviously Australia is obviously so far away, and it is challenging to do it. But you want to be able to bring people in from sort of all different avenues. Like, it's not like here you can just go like, oh, ATG, come here. Like, you want to be able to bring people kind of in off the street, like to come and experience it and explore it. And I know there's a lot of questions in there, but yeah, just I would really just like to know too, and I'm sure that there'd be a lot of other people that would really like to know, like, how was it done? What was done to make it feel this way, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because it was like part of it, I think, was Ben wanting to test different kind of flows out, like figuring out how to build ATG group classes.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like he built workouts that 40 or 50 people could do at one time in the gym. And it was crazy because it was like there was basically no hold up. Like, everybody just went through the whole workout and it was no problem. There was 2 squat racks in there and 2 sleds for 50 people. Madness. But it was like, I didn't wait. I didn't wait for things. Like, it just went through and it was cool. And so part of that, and part of it, like, that's what HQ is for, is like, there was no cost to it. Like, we didn't pay $3,000 to go for 3 days. Like, we paid for the Airbnb and I paid for the flight down, and I bought food to eat, but like, didn't pay to be there, which was cool. Did buy a shirt there, so maybe that was my ticket in. But but no, I mean, it was like it. I think the cool thing about it was having these guys that had so much experience, like Ben, Keegan, Ben, Keith, Fernando, and everybody else that like had all this knowledge and like having it in one place. So it was like, it's cool. It would be cool if it was just Ben. It'd be cool if it was just Keegan. It'd be cool if it was just other Ben. Like, it's cool to grab all these people on their own, but like when you have it together, I think that's when it becomes like a special sort of event, because then it's like a whole bunch of different perspectives on the same thing, rather than like each person doing one thing. So like, it was funny because we were laughing because it was like Keegan almost like didn't care when it was the lower body stuff, but then as soon as it was an upper body day, he was like locked in and super excited. Not that he actually doesn't care about the lower body, but like, we were laughing that he just started buzzing as soon as we were doing chin ups and like and like, whatever upper body stuff. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard. That would be a hard thing to create if you just had a bunch of people that like weren't, if nobody had a lot of experience with things. Like, I think the beauty of it was having so much experience in the room. And like, I know a decent amount. Zach knows a lot. Like, Connor Dykes jumps ridiculously high. Like, though, and then having that kind of experience in there too. Like, and having the ability, like, there were people there that had never lifted weights before, which is crazy to me, but like, it wasn't a problem. It wasn't like nobody cared that, and it wasn't like you couldn't do the workouts. Like, anybody can do those workouts, but also like, Fernando squatted 400 pounds during those workouts too. Like, it was cool because it scaled like that and everybody could do it. But then for me, I mean, like, the competition part is what I like, just being a dick. Because I like competition. I mean, but recreating it is like, how would you recreate it? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a special thing to have those guys in the room. and just like have a whole bunch of people that are all see things close to the same way, but not exactly the same way.
Mm.
Um, but then also part of it is like part of the fun is like we had 5 of us staying in the same Airbnb, like the same little house, and like just spending all this whole time with them. And like it wasn't like, all right, it's 4 o'clock, workout's over, I'll see you guys tomorrow. It was like the 3 of us slept in the same room. Like there was no see you tomorrow. It was like, all right, I'll see you in 30 seconds when I get out of the shower. We're all going to the beach now. We're all going to dinner now. Like, and then like other people would come to our house because we ended up with like the coolest Airbnb. So like then we would have more people at our house and people would come and meet us at the beach. So it's like the community aspect of it is honestly the best part. So replicating the actual event is difficult. Replicating the spending like 24 hours a day with like 5 to 10 people that are like close to you, and then like the other 40 people you'll see throughout the time. Like that's probably the best part. That's what's most fun.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. It's like it must be like a really, really cool experience to have when you've got all those people there who are like you said, you've got a lot of people who are competitive. You've got some who aren't. You got some who lift weight. You got some who don't lift weight. You've got like all this spectrum of like people. And there's this level to this level, and then everything in between. But you're all kind of like you don't care about where everyone else is on that spectrum, but you do care about like their personal development and like what they're doing when they're lifting weight or what they're doing when they're away from the gym. Like there's that connection and that community, which is like you just said it, like that is what the ATG community I think is all about. Like sure, there's that commonality of like you're all lifting weight, you're all doing your ATG split squats, you're all doing your BMO squats, your snatch grip podium deadlifts, your as many pull-ups as you can, like all that sort of stuff. And it's like some people can do one, some people can do 20, or some people can do 400 pounds, some people can do no pounds, but it's like you're all just like fuck yeah, like that's that feeling that you get. And even if you didn't, I'm sure if you didn't do as good as you thought you could in the workout, you'd still have like this massive buzz of like, oh man, that was the best. Having all these people, surrounded with all these people, all this good energy, positive energy, all this kind of stuff, that's probably the hardest part to recreate. Like you said, like not even the workouts or doing the gym stuff. Like it'd be to recreate the stuff with those people. That would be what I think would be the hardest thing to do.
Yeah. And it was interesting because like there was testing like to see where you're at with different things, like, and it was very different of like the people that squatted the most weren't the people that did the most chin-ups, that weren't the most people that jumped the highest, that weren't the people that ran the fast. Well, jumping high and running fast were pretty much together, but like that was different from the people that like had snatch, deadlift, and squat were pretty close, but like weren't the same people that did X. Like, and then seeing even within that was cool. Like Connor Dykes,
Yeah.
like yeah, pencil thin, but like 40 something inch vertical, ridiculous. Like I can squat like a significant amount more than he can, but like he's jumping like 12 inches higher than I am, 15 inches higher than I am, which is absurd.
What's
Like
your vertical?
I think the highest I ended up testing on there was 34 inches, which is
Yeah.
like a little over a meter, I think, or a little under a meter. 36 inches is 3 feet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
somewhere
Okay.
around a meter. I don't know. I've never measured vertical jump in metric now that I think about
Yeah.
it. But I guess if you divided my height and whatever. Like
We
he
got the tape. We got the tape measure right here. What'd you say? 34.
34 was what I tested. But I also hadn't jumped in a long time, which
Yeah.
is like
So 80. 86.5-ish.
Yeah, that was off of one step.
Yeah, wow.
It's like a step and a jump. And then this was a cool thing. So I'm driving up to go buy a jump mat tomorrow because
Yeah.
I had so much fun testing on that and I found a good deal on one. So now I'm gonna have one. But what's cool is testing like full counter movement jump, like no counter movement jump like paused out of a deep squat. So like sitting all the way down in a squat and jumping out of that, testing off like one step vertical jump and seeing where you're at with all those is like really cool.
Mm.
Like and then you can correlate it with how your strength measures are on different things. Like that's kind of where it's going. Like I squat a lot more than Connor, but he jumps way higher than me. But if you do a full deep squat pause for like 2 or 4 seconds to take the stretch out of it and like go way deeper than you normally would and jump, like I out jumped him in that. But like I can't dunk like he can. Like not even like he was like 10 inches higher than me on the not 10 inches. On the one step, he was like 8 inches higher than me, I think it was. 7 inches, 6 or 7 inches higher than on the one step. So like it was the same thing with like when Fernando jumped, he out jumped Connor on the non-counter movement and Connor blew him out of the water in the one step. So you can see where people like need elasticity or like who needs strength or who needs this, who needs jump balance, who just sucks off of whose approach is terrible, which is easy to fix. But yeah, dude, the jump mats are so much fun that I am going to get one tomorrow.
I think I saw Ben jumping on them. Like he was just jumping up. And there was one point I saw a video, I can't remember who put it up, but it was like he was floating in midair for like a second. He'd jump up and he'd be like hovering and then go back down. And he'd jump again and then he'd be hovering and then go back down. What the fuck is going on here? That was insane.
Yeah, they're crazy and they're kind of like humbling because I think they like give you lower numbers than you probably actually jump. Maybe not. Some of them do, some of them don't. But it was like the first couple were like, that was only like 24 inches. Like, are you kidding me? Like when you're talking like inches, like 40 is like a crazy vertical. And like if you're pretty good, you're in the 30s and you get like 24 and you're like, damn, man, I kind of suck, don't I? And then eventually like you warm up and like you get going and you figure out the device because you can't if you land with your toes, it just measures when you hit the ground. So you have to land flat footed to give yourself as much time. If you land on your toes, it cuts like
Is it
couple.
time? So it's time. So you
It's all time. Time and weight. So like how long you're off the ground and like how heavy you are. It might just be time actually. But yeah, I mean that's how it measures it. So like if you land like that or if you like bend your knees a lot and land, it'll give you a ridiculous reading. So you have to like land straight legs, flat feet. But yeah, I mean that in combination with the air runner, being able to sprint and jump maximally inside is like it's super, super fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that I'm looking at now, that air runner. Like, I mean, I can't fit it anywhere in here, but I've got all these brilliant ideas in my head to fit in some stuff. I mean, this is what I am doing, and this is happening in a couple of months. Like I'm on the lookout for a place and for a spot. And I think that the best thing to do if you're looking for something is to go in with people who are like-minded, who not necessarily have gym. I mean, you can go in with gym partners or gym buddies or whatever it is, but I've managed to work with a couple of good mates of mine, and we're looking at creating, you know, something, because I do the training with them and I'm like, man, we fucking love this stuff. Like, let's like make a place, and I'll bring some of like my stuff as in like their business in, and then the other stuff, his business in, and then the gym business in. And it's like, it just makes it so much more viable to actually do something like that, because going out by yourself, it's we spoke about it I think a couple of weeks ago, it's just too much. Like it's just not worth it. By the time you've spent money on the rent and then money on your overheads, it's like, well, I got $34.05 to play with. I can't like, how am I going to live off of that? It's almost impossible. So, well, it is practically impossible. And so, like, I mean, I understand too that there's other boundaries in that as well, but it's like this is something that I actually learned from Uncom and from like Keegan and Lyndon. It's like, don't make money an obstacle. Don't make the fact that you might not have the funds an obstacle. Find ways around making it work. Find people, work with people, build communities, build connections, which is like what you're doing there at ATG. And it's like there's definitely potential to be able to create what you want. It's just a matter of asking the right questions and finding the right people, and right for you might not be right for me, but it might be right for you. Like that's what's going to make it sort of work out. So it's something that I know that is definitely missing here down under, and I think that there's still maybe 6 months until it really starts to take off more here, because like the ATG classes, it's stuff that I've been doing with like the youth here, like the 3 to 4 younger athletes that I get coming. There's like, we make the classes work, and I mean, if I can make it work in a 3 by 6 meter garage with 4 kids or younger teenagers, it's like, it's definitely doable on a larger scale, and it can definitely be done. And when you've got results with kids, it's really, really cool when you get like they're in that bracket between kind of reserves and first team, or they're playing first team, and they're like, man, like my legs are feeling thick and chunky, like I feel good. And then they're saying like their girlfriends are like, your legs are looking big. And it's like, oh, thanks, babe. Like, and it's not even that they're putting in hours in the gym. It's like 2 days a week of just simple, easy stuff that is like, obviously it's monitored and it's watched. Even like upper body stuff. I mean, I do a whole heap of stuff with the way that I've worked it out is that like a Wednesday, because we train Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, that Wednesday session can be done not intensely, but quite intensive for doing upper body. So like we're doing things like ring push-ups, for example. And some of the other boys, they do go to the gym, or they have been to the gym before, and they're like, we've never ever felt this type of soreness before. Like, and it's not like you're thrashing the body, but like when you're hitting every rep to perfection and you're aiming for that perfect rep each and every time, it's like you're gonna feel some fatigue that you haven't felt before, because you've got like a watchful eye that's like, no, you can go lower than that. Like, and if you can't do that many reps, I still want you to hit that form. So you've got these kids, I call them kids, but they're still like 19, 20, 21 coming in. And they're like, it just feels good to be able to have that watchful eye and then be able to hit those reps and then have that feeling afterwards, like, oh man, I'm sore. Like, I'm sore in here, but it feels good, So yeah, I think the ATG class will take off really, really soon. I honestly do believe that people are starting to get sick of this like high intensity of your F45. Like, sure, that's for some people. I understand that, but I think there's more people coming in of being like, I want to feel good, I want to move well, I want to be strong, I want to take care of and tick all those boxes. And I think there's more of that really starting to come in now. People are starting to appreciate it. People want to train like an athlete. I had a 69-year-old come 2 weeks ago, and we'd been progressing to this phase. She hadn't really even noticed that that's what we were progressing to, getting down to a full squat. She went ass to grass, and she hadn't got past 90 degrees in probably like 10 years. And I'm like, you can do it. Like, and she hadn't even been thinking about it. We just sort of progressed her to it. And she was just like, afterwards, she was just freaking out. She's like, what the fuck? How had you been planning this whole time? And it's like, no, but yes, like, I don't want you to always think about like doing that movement all the time. Like, we're going to be smashing that all the time, because it's not going to work. Like, you can't do that. And I said to her, I train you like I train my athletes. We just regress you so much that it doesn't feel like it's as an intense workout as it is with the athletes. And when you get her doing split squats as well on a 2 of the what are they called, the multi steps, like, and she's doing like a full split squat, it's like, fuck. And she's coming once a week, man. Like, this is what it doesn't take that much. It does not take that much. Once a week can get you the mobility gains that you want if you're doing enough outside as well. Like, she keeps fit outside too. It's just, yeah, it blows my mind with the excuses that are made, that like, oh, I'm just going to live life in pain for the rest of my life. Or, I mean, this is going on, we just went on lots of different I just went on lots of different tangents. But yeah, man, like, it definitely can be done.
Yeah, that's I'm trying to figure out a space now. I'm looking and trying to see what I can do for
You're trying, or you are. You're just going to keep trying. You're going to do.
a little bit of both. A little bit of both.
Okay, good answer.
Because I do kind of have in the back of my mind of moving out, going somewhere warm with the beach in a state that starts with F. But uh and in not like the near future, but at some point, and then it's hard to sign a 7-year lease if you're thinking about leaving. Um,
7 years.
leases, a lot of the commercial leases are long here.
Wow.
Like I think 5 is like the typical, like 5 or 7, maybe 3. I don't know if you could sign a 1-year commercial lease. I haven't really looked into it like that, but like
I mean, you can just
maybe,
ask the question.
yeah. I mean, I gotta ask. I gotta. It is what it is because it could be a really cool thing. That was one thing that opened my eyes to a lot of things. But there's also some like gotta have it first. Like if you're gonna have 10 people, you kind of gotta have at least a full set of dumbbells.
Mhm.
And like you gotta have a couple more ATG buddies, and you gotta have a couple more slant stacks, and you gotta have a few more of this, a few more of that, a couple more sleds, bigger space for the turf. Like there's some like minimum things, and then comes like the cool shit that I just want to have when I have space to have it. Um, yeah, I mean it that event. Some people were making jokes about it. It's like if you went to like a Poliquin event, like there's gonna be way big. Or like Zach and Ben were at Sorinex like a week ago or so because Ben was presenting and Zach went. Like people were filling out their shirt sleeves a lot more than anybody was at the ATG event. Like there weren't a lot of like big arms, and like people were throwing around like 300 pounds on cleans at Sorinex. But like there's probably never been an event before with so many good split squats. Like all the Poliquin events, the Expo, any other event, like I did probably has never been another group of 50 people together that had such tremendous split squats. Or like they would like the pull up competition. Like I don't think there's ever been a stricter chin up competition ever than like those chin like and not like the most they were done in a row was I think 18. Like that's not that many chin ups. Like I did 16, I think. Like that's not that many chin ups, but they all were perfect. Every rep of everybody's chin ups were perfect. It's a weird thing. It's like now like, if you had a whole bunch of people like that also could throw 200, like who would clean 200 kilos, like you're gonna have some freaking animals.
Mm,
So it is what it is.
mm, I guess it's just a matter of like just putting things in place now to, or just figuring out like what it is that I guess from your perspective, what you want to do. Do you want to have this space of your own and commit to X amount of time, or do you want to go live in a place that's full of sun and starts with a letter F? Like that's the big question. And I mean, there's a lot of things there that are positive about both, and there's obviously it is kind of, you can't really have both almost unless you start and you commit to having the one that you want for a couple of years, and then you put things in place to be able to have that place and always return back to it. So then you constantly got it, like you have people there take care of the gym, or you have enough practices in place that it's like, yep, well, I can comfortably leave this gym now, and I know that it's gonna be fine. So because as much as like we've spoken about this many times, but like as much as the online stuff is like accessible and it's great, it will never ever compare to having like a connection in person with the gym. Like that's never ever going to happen, and like you can't replicate that online. because it even like this sort of stuff, like with the Zoom. I mean, I think we've done quite well, all things considered, you know, with the bad internet here in Australia and everything like that. But it's like to be able to even just have conversations with people online. It's not easy to do that, and you kind of still feel that you're stuck in some areas, or you're limited in a lot of areas. So then, you know, doing workouts and that too, it's a whole another thing, and that connection, it's not there, not there. And community is everything. You can have an online community, but you can't have an online community like you can have an in-person community, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I mean, if you look at the people there that were really freaks, like most of them were like 30 to 35. So I know that's like half your age, but for me that but like you can imagine like that's a that's like a long time for a lot of people. Like there were some people, there was one kid there that was 16.
Mm-hmm.
Like Fernando's 34, I think. Like this dude's got 18 years to turn into Fernando. Like it's not gonna take you 18 years. Especially like you could get that kid there in 8 years. That's like 2 Olympic cycles, like with what people know. And then he'd be a year older than I am right now, just an absolute animal. But it's the same thing. It's like you put a gym in place, and then like you have foundation to like train for 8 years, and like all right, all of a sudden you have like a whole bunch of freaks, and like if you get people start getting like younger high school guys in that stayed through college, like all of a sudden you're just pumping out these freakish athletes, and then everything falls to place when you have results like that.
Mm. And I think that, like, then you come into other problems too. It's like making that accessible to those athletes, and understanding the sport that they're playing, and understanding their load. Like, are they training away from you? And if they are, what are they doing? And how can you make that, like, how can you tie it all in together? And yeah, there's a lot of other problems that come with that, but they're kind of good problems to have, because then you're working, you know, more so as a coach, rather than just like you're actually trying to help coach them, rather than just kind of telling them to do this is what you need to do. Like you're getting to know them a little bit better. You're starting to work on relationships, all that kind of stuff. You know, it's yeah. Let's just say it's. I think what I saw. It's I need a lot of signatures to get Ben down here. A and B. I think also, like, for me, maybe it is this is me thinking out loud, maybe it is an opportunity to be able to reach out to all the ATG coaches around Australia and go like, hey, listen, like, we've got that there. There's a couple of level 3s here as well. Like, how cool would it be if we could just all get together? Like, we all come from the same sort of thing. I think there's, oh no, not level 3, they're level 2s. Sorry, my bad. There's a couple of level, one, two, I think there's about 4 or 5 level 2s in Australia. So to being able to bring them together, because is it the Bens and Keegans are the only level 3s? Is that right?
Ben, Keegan, Marcel, Fernando. There's 5 now.
Yeah. So like actually no, then there's more level 2s. I got confused there. That's baby brain talk. there's definitely a lot more level 2s. But like being able to bring all of them together, because it's not even a matter of like they're better than everyone else. It's like being able to just bring that knowledge in all to one place. Like, and having that knowledge there, and being, like you said, being able to feed off of everyone. Why not? Why wouldn't you make that happen? So that's a challenge for me, I reckon. That's what I'm going to set out to do. Bring people together. Bring them all together.
There you go. Maybe that's your job now, is to create headquarters in Australia that people can come to, because you don't have to you don't always have to find people. Like you can build people for that. Like maybe you probably can't like change the mindset and change all of that, but like if you want people, like you could get people that are smart in and like show them and be like, hey, this works really well, and they're like, oh, it does work really well, and then like really quickly you get people that are great. So it's not always about finding people. Like Justin was a football player, one of the guys that I spent a lot of time with there. It's like he's only been in ATG since like January, but like he's a football player, so he's a fucking gorilla. Like, then you just show him the ATG stuff for 5 months now, and like he's proficient, and like he learns the stuff really fast because he's a young dude. Like, so it's not like I gotta find people that found ATG 2 years ago that I can talk to about this stuff with. Like, no, like find cool people and then show them cool things, and then you have cool people to know cool things.
Mm.
That was a really stupid quote, but it made sense, sort of.
Yeah. We'll replay it back. We'll see how much sense it made.
No, if that was a business, it'd be bankrupt for making no sense.
Oh wow! I reckon
Anyway.
we call. We'll go again. What was that?
I was just say, how's the before we wrap it up? How's the baby? How's the family? What's the news there?
Yeah. Doing really well. Thanks. It's been happening more often than not now. Like we're in bed at like 7:30, so it's in bed and sleeping not long after that. So what was it last night? I think last night Florence got 7 hours straight, 6 or 7 hours straight, which is like, fuck yeah, that's like a big win. A lot of sleep and doing poops and burps. They're the top three, man. And if
There you go.
every single mother and father out there, when you hit those three, it's just like, it is the biggest win. But the sleep, like she's a very loud sleeper, so she's sleeping and she's probably I'd probably say she's like 7 or 8 meters away in like another bedroom, and we can hear her from there. Like she's just moaning and groaning and all this sort of stuff, and so like, but she's asleep. So but last night was great. She slept pretty much all the way from 7:45 to like 2 something in the morning. It was like, whoa. And you kind of, again, like parents who understand this, you freak out because you wake up from this like beautiful sleep of 7 hours that you haven't experienced for like 6 or 7 weeks, and you're like, oh, that was great, and you're like, shit, is she still breathing? Is she alive? Like, what's going on? You're freaking out, and then you run in there, and she's just passed out. And it's like, oh, she's okay, she's all good, she's asleep. You have that little freak out, especially when the monitor freezes as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't really freak out that much. It's more so Ruby that freaks out. But hey, that's what I guess the women or the mothers sort of do. They're a lot more emotional and that. But yeah, she's doing really, really well. She's super strong, which is great. Like head and neck and eyes are just open constantly. Like she's just looking around everywhere. She's got her head up. She can pretty much balance her head. She's watching dad in the gym, and because I've got some of the family coming over too. Like she'll come in, she'll watch, and I think she's watching. Maybe she's just looking at shadows. I don't know, but like putting her already in that environment of like, I held her. I've been doing a little bit of like Zwift, which is like the bike stuff, just because the time for me, it's like I want to have a timed set of something that I can do, because doing a workout, like I might be halfway through it and throwing around the weight and that sort of stuff, and it's sometimes a little bit more challenging for me to do that, especially seeing as sleep has not been great. So being able to jump on a bike and just go, in the gym, it's kind of hooked up to the trainer, and that it's been nice to do that. And so like the other day, Ruby came home and she needed to quickly go and do something, so she like handed me Florence, and so like I was riding the bike and Florence was like here in front of me, and I'm trying like not to sweat on her and hold onto her back here and just keep riding and keep my balance and all that. And that's what it is. Like it is literally balancing life. That's what it has been for the last 8 weeks, or 7.5 weeks, is just balancing and trying to progress through my life, not only as a man, but as a father and as a business owner, and then health wise too. Like it's not easy, but I don't think it's supposed to be easy either. So yeah, I think that answers your question.
There you go. Love to hear it. You're finally getting some sleep. Are you still in the coffee or?
I mean, I had one today, but like I haven't been hitting them hard, like, and doesn't, like I said previously, like it doesn't do anything for me at all. Like I don't need it. And for me, like I'll go as soon as I'm in bed. It's like, let's just sleep. And you go to sleep straight away. And the only time you get woken up is by your wife when she's freaking out a little bit, and because she's like, oh, like I've got all this stuff going on, or if the baby, you can hear the baby, or there's been the times too. I don't want to make it seem like all sunshine and rainbows, because it's not. Like there's been times too where both of us are just like, fuck, or we're both like just drained and you don't know what to do anymore, and you're just trying everything, and yeah, you make it work. You make it work, because there's no other option. You can't just stop, because that doesn't exist. It's a good resilience builder, definitely. If you want a really hard training session, become a dad.
Nothing big, just become a dad. Yeah.
Yeah. Become a father. Yeah, you sort it out, man.
Yeah, put that in the program. Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
There we go. All right, I think we got the baby update. Think we can call it now. Where can everybody find you? Get in touch with you, help you build.
Jump onto Instagram. Yeah, help me build the beginning of ATG HQ in Australia. Well, my own version of it. And the other thing too, which I forgot to mention, Curtis also reached out, and he was very, very appreciative of like the episode that we did, on something that he was struggling with. And yeah, he said thank you to obviously yourself for everything, that being able to provide that knowledge and that information. So like, I want to reiterate, if there's anyone out there that is struggling with anything, and we'll see if it works too. Like, I mean, if he puts those things into practice, and I hope that he does, which I'm sure that he will, so that he can reap the rewards and the benefits from it all. But yeah, Instagram, reach out, come down, and we can chill out. And when the weather's looking nicer, we haven't got Florida weather here at the moment, but it is what it is. So Coach Carly with the three guys. No, I didn't think so. In Indiana is not known for that type of weather, is it?
No, it is nice here though.
Well, yeah, but it's not Florida.
That's true.
Yeah. What about you, man?
Yeah, Score Performance. Instagram's the easiest place to find me. You can reach out wherever else, but that is the easiest place to find me. All right. Appreciate everybody for listening, and we'll catch everybody next week.
See you, everyone.